Welcome back to IGN Live at E3 2016. My name is Ryan McCaffrey. I'm joined by Vince Zampella. Steve, from Respawn Entertainment, gentlemen, you're making a little game people may have heard about. It's called Titanfall 2.
Titanfall 2.
Right. So you announced this week. It was sort of everyone assumed you were making this game. You've sort of acknowledged it over time, but you finally got your big coming out party yesterday. I'm curious now, with having slept on it, how do you guys feel about the community reaction to it? How everybody seems to be taking it in so far?
We're really super thrilled that the reaction has been very, very positive. I'm very excited to be shipping this game.
Yeah, it is great. The fans have been raving about it. We've seen a lot of positive, kind of support, and that's, what we do it for.
Is it harder to announce a sequel when everybody sort of has expectations and knows what it is, or is it harder to announce the first game?
I'd say, for me, the first game, because we kind of tried to keep everything as secure and tight as possible until, the moment we released. With this game, people know what to expect, a little bit more, so it's not as important that you keep things under wraps. Thank goodness, since we had a little bit of a snafu.
A little early, just jumping the gun. You're just getting the buzz out early. That's all that happened.
That made it an exciting morning.
What leaked was your single-player trailer, and that is what I was most excited to see. No disrespect to the multiplayer, which I got to play yesterday, and it's fantastic. We'll talk about that in a minute, but single-player is what I think all of us fans have wanted since Titanfall 1. We got a campaign of sorts in the first game, but now we're getting a full offline playable solo mode.
Right.
How do you guys translate, Steve? How do you translate Titanfall into a solitary, narrative-driven experience?
Well, one of the things we realized was, or we're kind of surprised by, was the reaction to the multiplayer Titanfall 1, that people really wanted to know more about the lore and the fiction of the universe. So we also reflected on that and thought, well, we don't have any touchstones. We don't have like the Band of Brothers for a World War II game or Saving Private Ryan.
Right.
We have to make our own so-called movie of sorts. So why not make a single-player campaign that is more accessible and that sort of feeds that desire for narrative? Yeah.
So we've got kind of an Iron Giant situation going on with you as Jack Cooper and your the Titan that is bound to you now, yes. After his original pilot is killed in action. Right. BT 7274. Now, I'm going to guess, is 7274 somebody's birthday on the team? Or July 2nd, 1974? Is there an Easter egg in there somewhere?
A little bit, yeah.
I kind of had to figure.
You don't want to spill it?
No. Better to keep that secret.
I already asked Vince earlier. He said it wasn't him.
Yeah, he thought it might be my birthday. It was not, though.
But can we expect? I mean, we're going to be fighting. In Titanfall, we've always fought other human beings, other pilots, and then things like Spectres, the robots. But now in Titanfall 2, the single-player campaign will have actual creatures, monsters, to fight. Does your team just kind of get to go hog wild with we can make this universe anything we want. Let's have a alligator thing with phalanges that come up and just growl at you, which we see in the trailer.
That's one of the great things about having a science fiction sort of IP, is that we've consciously chosen that, so we had that expanded design space to be able to try different directions, and anything goes, but it does raise the bar in terms of responsibility on our part to try and make sure that we work out that stuff, the lore and everything, that all kind of fits together. So that's a challenge, to keep it all making sense.
Yeah, we want to be more grounded and not go crazy. You want the game to be relatable, you want people to understand what's going on, so I know you very gracefully put it, alligator phalange thing.
I think that's the official fictional scientific name of it.
Yeah. That'll make it on the website.
In Latin, right? That's the Latin name for it.
You need something to balance off all those machines, all those robots. Yeah.
So, do you, with having the Titan as a character, I take it he'll be able to sort of do his own thing. I mean, we see a little bit of that in the trailer with him throwing you around. Will there be sort of sections with him, without him, in the Titan, just all over the board?
Well, what we focused a lot on was, what are the strengths of the pilot? And what are the strengths of the Titan? What are their weaknesses? Not so much on the shoulder-to-shoulder, as we call it, where you're actually out of the Titan, because why would you get out in the middle of a big fight where the Titan is the strong man? So the thing we focused on was pilot mobility, and the Titan's ability to take a lot of hits, and sort of we separated those regimes quite a bit. But emotionally and sort of figuratively, it is sort of an unstoppable together kind of narrative thread.
Now there's a shot near the end of the trailer, which we're not quite at yet here, but where if you freeze frame it, which I did because that's what they pay me to do, you can actually see, I counted 7 other Titans in the battlefield as you're dropping in. How many other Titans in this campaign are going to be on the battlefield at once? Because it looks like it gets pretty nuts.
Well, in the multiplayer, the mode we're showcasing here at E3 is 5v5.
Right.
So
for single player, we can expect a similar.
Well, in single player, it's a
size.
whole different kind of world. We can do whatever we want. So there's some sections in there that are amazing battle sequences, I'll say. I don't want to give too much away because we want people to be really surprised by some of the things that we have in single player.
You could go back to the single player trailer and freeze frame that one now.
I will. Yeah, and in fact, I noticed too. We just saw the grappling hook getting used, and I got to play the game, the multiplayer. And what I noticed, and I really liked, was it felt like the grappling hook really had some sort of physics and weight and momentum to it, as opposed to it just being a aim there, point there, shoot there, go straight there thing. That seems like that's adding an interesting element of variety to what can happen in multiplayer and probably single player as well.
I think that speaks to the general spirit of how we developed Titanfall 2 from a multiplayer standpoint, was going back to basics, going back to formula, breaking down the whole concept and seeing how could we make the game more sticky, how can we work on mastery. And what you're talking about, the grappling hook is kind of tricky to use at first. It's not just point and shoot and you're up there. There's a lot of nuance to it, and so there's room to grow as a player. You don't just figure it out in the first 5 minutes and you're done. So that's something that extends out into every aspect of the game.
Right, and it's on a cooldown too, so you can't just spam it to fly all over the map. Right. Now, I guess what a lot of people might not realize is, the core members of your team are responsible for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1, Modern Warfare 2, some of the most beloved shooter campaigns ever, and you've got a lot of those same folks that are on this Titanfall 2 campaign.
That's right.
That should get people fired up, right?
The team is amazing. We've got a lot of people, like you said, the core kind of started with people from that era, but we've expanded out a lot and added a lot of new, amazingly talented people. The team's ridiculous.
So before we move to the multiplayer, what is kind of the big goal? What's the takeaway that you guys want players to have after playing Titanfall 2's single-player campaign?
They should have the feels, as one of our coders talked about it when he played the game. He said, "I got the feels." So that's what we would like.
That doesn't automatically mean BT dies in the end, does it?
Doesn't necessarily mean that.
Good. Because we can't handle any more partner deaths in games. It's too sad. It's too sad. It's like when the dog dies. It's like no, can't. That's not okay. Multiplayer-wise, let's take a look at some multiplayer from the game. This again, I got to try several times because why would I not play more when it's put right in front of me?
Fair enough.
You're obviously building off of an extremely successful core for multiplayer. The biggest change I noticed with multiplayer, at least the one that jumped out to me, I'll put it this way, was the changes to the rodeo mechanic. Can you guys sort of speak to that? It's not sort of an instant pilot victory anymore. Like, oh, well, I got on you, and I'm going to pound your brain out, and you're done.
Yeah, it became kind of an annoyance for some players. Like, how do you deal with it? So I think this is a much more balanced approach where you can, when you rodeo now, you steal a battery that takes a chunk of the Titan's health. You can then call out to one of your friendly Titans and put it in him and recharge them. So it's kind of it's a better mechanic kind of all around.
Yeah, people felt, I think, it was a little rote to jump on and just sort of pop, shoot the brain of the Titan. So that's sort of where we went with that.
Yeah, can you talk about I don't know if we'll see it in this trailer, but the battery mechanic of you can actually, the rodeo can now be used to help your friendly Titans.
Yep.
That's right.
To what can you power them over 100%? Because can you get a bonus, or just make sure to keep them topped off at 100% energy?
There's other things that are coming that we'll talk about in the months ahead.
I like that. All right, so we're taking a look at the multiplayer trailer here. So that's Ion right there. With two Titans, two new Titans we're showing so far, and that's Ion with that sort of Cyclops mega beam. That's like the ultimate attack.
Yes.
That's fun, right? How could that? And you're evolving from the 3 original Titans aren't in the game. These are 6 new ones you mentioned on stage.
Right.
The other being Scorch. If we can, I think we'll wrap back around to Scorch here in a second. But Scorch, very fire-based. You mentioned to me yesterday kind of an evolution of Atlas.
right.
from the first game.
Yeah, it's about kind of, instead of approaching a fight where you don't know what you're getting yourself into, because the loadout could be, what you don't know what it is, kind of going into a fight. Now you see Scorch, right away, that's Scorch, I know what his abilities are, I know how I should approach this fight. So it's a little more, strategic. It makes the fights more fun, more balanced.
It's again another example where we've reduced certain avenues of choice so that players can actually learn how to play the game. They can learn the tricks and learn patterns.
It's the best thing I've played so far this week. We got a lot to play. It's more Titanfall. How could that not be good? October 28th is when the game is out for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. For much more on Titanfall 2, because we're going to be knocking on your door pretty much on a daily basis till you let me play some more. Keep it tuned right here for more things on Titanfall right here at IGN.